What is good, everyone? Welcome back to the PWD channel where we discuss professional wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the March 13th, 2023 episode of Monday Night Raw, and it was it was a good episode, but lately, at least in my opinion, I feel like a lot of these episodes have felt like filler, and this was definitely like the most filler-heavy episodes. For the last couple of weeks, I felt like the stories haven't made any drastic progressions, and I feel like a lot of the feuds in Raw just don't really feel like there's not a lot of blood in the feud. There's not a lot of heat. There's not a lot of hatred for the enemies. There's just not a lot in the feuds. They're very basic. They're very simple. And outside of that, there's just not much passion or not much power in the promos. Or in the promos and the feuds and the storylines, the matches that are happening right now, it just feels like we're in a little bit of a era of Raw where WrestleMania is in 3 weeks. We don't want any of our main guys to get injured. And so they're working safer matches that would typically not be on TV, matches that are maybe like in kind of like a dark house kind of match. Some matches like that, dark matches, sort of. We've had that. And then we've also just had segments that just didn't really hit for me. But this show, again, it wasn't bad. It was just fine. And I think that leading up to WrestleMania, when we have 3 weeks left or 2 weeks left now, I don't think fine is good enough in my opinion. I guess we'll see what happens going forward, but for me, today's episode was just fine. The show ended up starting off with Edge. He's going to fight Balor at Mania in a Hell in a Cell match, which is incredible. He said what I think all the fans have been thinking, that he wasted his return pretty much. His entire time from his return onwards has been pretty much wasted because he spent his first year of his return wrestling in front of TVs, which he wasn't a fan of. And then the second year of his return, he's just wasted completely on Balor. He's done nothing but feud with Balor for the last year. So you want to make my life a living hell, Balor? We're going to fight at Hell in a Cell. And Balor teases the demon because he says, I've been to hell before, but it spit me out because hell couldn't handle my demons, which was a badass line from Balor. And I think it's pretty obvious where we're going here. I think it's going to be Demon Finn Balor versus Edge at WrestleMania in a Hell in a Cell match nonetheless, which is incredible. It's super awesome to see them going for the Hell in a Cell outside of the pay-per-view. I think I can speak for everyone here when we're all sick and tired of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, not because we hate the Hell in a Cell stipulation, but because the matches in it weren't worthy of Hell in a Cells. But this match, it's a feud that's been going on for a while, and you could definitely see it happening in a Hell in a Cell. So it makes sense that they're doing this, and it's going to be so cool to see a Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Again, it's been a while since we've seen one of those, so super excited for that. Some other things that happened. Cody ended up beating LA Knight tonight, and he cut a really good promo, a fantastic promo from Cody Rhodes, basically saying he's going to take down the Bloodline and become the first Rhodes to declare themselves the world champion. I saw people on Twitter hyping this promo up a lot, and don't get me wrong, it was a great promo, but it doesn't feel any different from what he said previously. And I think that the Roman and Cody promo this week didn't really progress. Like, if you missed this week, you didn't really miss much at all. Heyman said some stuff too, backstage, but it wasn't really that relevant, to be honest. It just feels like we're, like I said, in a filler period where feuds aren't progressing. They kind of just built them up a few weeks ago, and they haven't really built them forward or made them any stronger since then. It's just like we're just in this period of time where nothing really matters, and if you missed the last couple of episodes of Raw, you really haven't missed much, unfortunately. We also got Rey coming out to finally give his Hall of Fame speeches he wasn't able to last week. But then again, Dom came out. Dom said, he was like, you put your entire life into this business, and I hope it was worth it because you earned this honor at the expense of me. You chose all of these strangers talking about the crowd instead of being there for your kids. He also complained that Ray wasn't there for his 8th grade ceremony, graduation thingy, and also that for his, for the celebrations and stuff, all of his friends were getting Mercedes, and all that he got was a BMW, which was a funny complaint from Dominic Mysterio. Really shows like his entitlement there. Dom called Ray a sad, ugly excuse of a father. Not just a father, though, a man as well. And then he finally set out the challenge to fight Ray at WrestleMania. But of course, Ray, just like he did on SmackDown, he says, I'm not going to fight my own son. I could never fight my own son. I love my son no matter... And then he went up to Dom after saying that. He's like, I love you no matter what, and I always will. There will be no Mania match. And then he walked out from the ring, and Dom's like, do what you do best and run away like you ran away from me in my childhood, which was a great line as well. But yeah, this is a good little progression, like a slight progression in the story. I think we're going to get that Rey versus Dom match, but I'm just curious to see how far Dominic Mysterio is willing to take it to get Rey to accept that match. I'm really curious about that. Still a cool segment, though. We also had Seth Rollins versus Corbin. This was a funny little match, but Corbin destroyed Seth. He also ended up taking Miz out in the process, so I feel like we might get a Miz versus Seth match before WrestleMania happens. I could be wrong, but I think we might get that. Solo Sikoa and Kevin Owens was the main event. Honestly, the match was good, but it was just incredibly predictable. I think another problem that I've been having with Raw recently, especially this week, is that they have all of the people who are fighting in WrestleMania matches in very obvious matches where it's like, okay, you know for sure 100% that this person is going to beat this person because this person has a WrestleMania match. Of course, the other person is not going to defeat them 3 weeks out from the WrestleMania match. And I get it. Like, it makes sense. You don't want to back yourself into a corner or book yourself into a corner where two people who could win or could lose need to both look strong for WrestleMania, and you don't want to have one of them lose. So I get it. But at the same time, again, it's making for sort of boring TV. And like I said, we're just in this episode. I mean, we're in this era right now of Raw where it just feels like filler. It doesn't feel like anything exciting or anything huge is going on. Unfortunately, at least for this week in specific. Now, there's exciting things going on. There's things to look forward to, don't get me wrong. But with this episode, it just didn't feel like the feuds were really progressed that much at all. And I hope that we see more from Raw because this episode wasn't it to me. I would rate this episode a 2.9 out of 5. Again, it wasn't necessarily bad. There was one really bad thing that I forgot to mention. Asuka versus Bianca Belair. This feud is just not working for me. They are not building the feud up correctly at all. It's the same thing week in and week out. Bianca Belair gets jumped or Asuka gets jumped, and then the other person comes out. They stare at each other. Asuka laughs and walks away. This is a horrendous feud for this build. Build for this feud. I literally don't care about this feud at all. It's quite bad, actually. Like, horrible. I am not excited about this match at all, which is unfortunate because you should be excited to see Asuka finally lift the title at WrestleMania. But unfortunately, that's not seeming like, it almost feels like it's not going to happen. I think that she still will win, but this feud is just bad, and WWE has not done a good job of building this feud up nicely. But yeah, that's my review of the show, 2.9 out of 5. You expect more. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and it feels like a lot of these matches, like even Brock Lesnar and Omos happened tonight, like I just don't care. And the ones that I do really care about, such as Logan and Seth and Cody and the Bloodline, this week in specific, didn't feel like anything was really heavily progressed. But we'll see what happens next week. I'm going to end this episode here, though, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel down below if you haven't already. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'll be back Friday Night SmackDown. But I do have a video this Wednesday coming out where I'll be talking about, will WrestleMania 39 be good? I think it's an interesting topic, so be excited for that video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Catch you guys on the next one again. Love you all. Peace.